Hi buddies, Marvin here from TechBroll.com, where we do unboxings, reviews, and sexy bureaus. And today, finally, we have something from Drop.com. We're taking a look at their new Drop Enter mechanical keyboard. A no-frills mechanical keyboard with robust build construction and streamlined design and features. Perfect to get your feet wet in the mechanical keyboard world. With that being said, let's get into it. Alright guys, just for a brief background, Drop.com has actually released other keyboards before in the form of the Drop Control, Alt, Shift, and a bunch of others that, let's just say, targeted towards enthusiasts and are quite expensive. Now, they recently released the Drop Enter, which is relatively cheaper while providing the necessary features and the same build quality. So, let's take a look at it. The packaging for the Drop Enter is quite basic yet somehow premium in its own way. It is minimalistic with a tiny drop logo at the center, and at the back we just have a small sticker with some technical details. So let's see what comes in the package. Upon opening the box, what I like about this is the simplicity of the packaging with enough protection as you can see here. Inside the box, we have this getting started paperwork that also includes a warranty guide and some of its key functions. After that, we have a nice pull tab here, allowing us to easily pop out this heavy mechanical keyboard. Let me just put this aside as we take a look at what else do we have here. Upon removing the keyboard platform, we're greeted by the removable USB Type-C cable and a nice wire keycap puller right here. And that's about it for the pretty straightforward unboxing experience. Now let's take a closer look at the Drop Enter mechanical keyboard. At first look and touch, it is undeniably heavy at almost exactly a kilogram. It is built like a tank and doesn't flex at all. The bottom casing is made out of anodized aluminum while the top cover is made of hard plastic material. I also like the fact that the union between the bottom and the top cover is quite seamless, allowing for a very clean look alongside the overall minimalistic aesthetic of this keyboard with this white top cover and white set of keycaps. Not to mention that anything with anodized silver aluminum material looks really sleek. Now, the Drop Enter is actually available in a black case with black keycaps, a green case with two-tone gray keycaps, and the silver and white case with white keycaps. Personally, I prefer this one as it looks absolutely clean. Flipping it on the front side, we can have an idea about the profile of this keyboard, as well as the seamless union between the top cover and the bottom case. Flipping it on its side, we can have a close-up look at the bottom case and the top housing, which features a high-profile design. Essentially, this means that the switches are hidden, allowing for a much cleaner look. The keycaps profile is standard OEM. Now, looking at the back side, we have the USB Type-C port right here. And looking all over at the bottom, we have two flip-out stands with rubber tip and a couple of rubber feet as well to make this thing stay in place. And lastly, we also have a large Drop Enter logo here at the center. Now, going back in front, in terms of the layout, it features one of the most popular layouts, which is 10 keyless. This means it doesn't have a numpad, but it does have dedicated arrow keys and a full nav cluster and function rows up top for a total of 87 keys. In terms of the fonts, it is the typical fonts used in most OEM keycaps like this, with large alphas, small numeric keys, and smaller fonts for the modifiers. Now, in terms of the keycap itself, it is made out of PBT plastic with double shot molding, which essentially means there is a separate material for the legends and it will not fade away over time. And for a typical OEM keycap like this, the thickness is just around 1mm or so. As for the switches, we have a special one in the form of the Halo Trues, at least for the variant that we have right here, since the Drop Enter is also available in Gateron switches. Now, Halo True switches are not that often used in pre-built keyboards. Most pre-built keyboards that I know of are available in either Gateron switches or Kale, and in some cases for mainstream brands Cherry MX and for the more budget ones Otemu. So this is definitely a breath of fresh air for me. Halo True switches are also made by Keiwa and were designed by Jacob Alexander. Halo True switches are tactile switches that mimic the characteristics of a topper switch. This is actually my first time owning one, and I must say, the tactile characteristic of this is nothing like I'm used to. The tactile bump is right on top of the actuation distance, and you can definitely feel the resistance right on top of it, and once you press it with enough force, you can activate the switch without even bottoming it out, which is quite heavy to be honest. So the spring is heavy at around 100 grams of force to bottom out, but you can activate the switch for almost half of that at around 54 grams. So the experience is definitely different compared to, let's say, a Koala, Zilios, Everglide, and the like. And definitely different compared to the mainstream ones like Cherry MX Brown and Gateron Brown. As for the stabilizers, it is pretty decent, not the best but not so bad either. The rattle is minimal on the spacebar as well as on the modifiers. These are plate-mounted Cherry style stabilizers. And to give you a better understanding of how these Halo True switches with the stabilizers sound on this keyboard, here's a quick sound test for you guys. Alright guys, moving on to the other features and functions. Like I said earlier, the drop enter keyboard is a no-frills keyboard with streamlined features. So its functionality is pretty basic. There's no fancy RGB lighting or any macro editing and stuff like that. So basically, all of the shortcuts are located on the function rows, like the system controls and multimedia keys, which you can toggle alongside the function key. And as you can see on our reference here, the arrow keys also serves as the brightness control for the LEDs. Speaking of LEDs, let me just plug this keyboard in so that we can check its illumination. There you go. So as you can tell, the LEDs of this keyboard have this sort of yellow tint to it. It's not entirely white, which may or may not be good depending on your preference. Let me just turn off some lights so that we can have a better idea about its brightness. Again, you can use the up and down arrow keys alongside the F and key to adjust the brightness levels, and that's about it when it comes to lighting options. Again, no fancy RGB, no fancy lighting effects, just the basic stuff. Now, turning off all the lights, as you can see, the illumination on this keyboard is definitely bright, one of the brightest I've seen so far in a keyboard, and aside from the bright LEDs themselves, I think the white backplate also helps with that. Now, one thing I noticed is that when you toggle the Windows key and the caps lock key, there's a subtle red illumination on them, which is quite nice. Now, aside from the drop enter keyboard itself, drop.com is actually nice enough to include a set of Skylight series keycaps with this horizon set that will perfectly match with the white and silver colorway of our drop enter keyboard. The packaging is quite good for a set of keycaps with enough cushion and protection so it doesn't scatter away while in transit. It is a full set consisting of 108 keys and is compatible with the full-size keyboard and any Cherry MX style switches. As per my close inspection, the quality and build construction as well as the font style is pretty much identical with the stock keycaps of the drop enter, so I only had to swap the modifiers and other keys. And as you can see, the finished product is definitely better, with good contrast between the colors white and blue partnered with the white top housing. Moving on, let's talk about my actual typing experience and the performance of this keyboard. As per my testing, NKRO fully works with this keyboard. You can press as many keys as you want without conflicts, which is quite vital for fast typers and for those who play rhythm games and games that require pressing multiple keys at the same time. As for my typing experience, like I said, it is definitely different from what I'm used to, with a tactile bump right on top of it and with a relatively heavy bottoming out force. But to be honest, I still prefer the tactile characteristics of my Everglide Violet, but this is definitely a good experience. If you like heavy switches with a topper-like tactile feel, then this is a good option. So to conclude, the drop enter keyboard is a fairly affordable option if you want a no-nonsense mechanical keyboard with decent switch options, minimalistic design, and robust build quality. Granted, it doesn't have any fancy RGB, different lighting effects, and deep customization, but if you just want to have a basic but decent keyboard for work and gaming, then this is a good option. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Huge thanks to drop.com for sending this in. You can get this from the link below. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more drop.com product reviews like this. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're awesome.